Microsoft Corporation legal documents show Biden DOJ spying on Veritas journalists and hiding it from a federal court judge. Bombshell corporate legal documents released by Veritas reveal that President Biden's Department of Justice filed a series of secret warrants, orders, and a subpoena to surreptitiously collect privileged and constitutionally protected communications and contacts from 8 Project Veritas journalists from Microsoft Corporation. Wow. The Department of Justice then muzzled Microsoft from disclosing these orders via a series of secrecy orders signed by magistrates. The documents further reveal the DOJ then went behind the U.S. District Court judge and Elisa Torres' back to obtain extensions on the gag orders on Microsoft from magistrate judges after Judge Torres ruled Project Veritas was entitled to journalistic privileges. Good on Annalisa Torres, man. Despite multiple opportunities to do so, the DOJ has not publicly disclosed the orders, warrants, or subpoenas to Judge Torres or Special Master Judge Barbara Jones, who was appointed by Judge Torres to Project Veritas's journalistic privileges from potential DOJ overreach. To protect Veritas's privileges, Judge Torres ruled the DOJ's investigation must be overseen by Judge Jones and ordered the DOJ not to review any material seized from Project Veritas without Judge Jones's approval. The DOJ has not sought Judge Jones's approval to review Project Veritas's materials seized from Microsoft. The documents uncover a 16-month clandestine campaign against journalists in which the DOJ obtained 7 secret orders, warrants, and subpoenas from 6 magistrates within the Southern District of New York. Paul Calley, an attorney for Project Veritas, fiercely opposed the actions from the DOJ, which he called an act of violence to the First Amendment. In a motion filed Tuesday, Calley argued, by the time Project Veritas filed the motion to appoint a special master, the government already had the opportunity to review Project Veritas's journalistic and attorney-client privileged materials. Based on preliminary research data, the SDNY appears to be in possession of nearly 150,000 documents they should not have. In addition to the emails, the SDNY obtained over 1,000 contacts from journalists they also failed to disclose to Judge Torres or to a special master. I want to pause and mention, are you guys using a VPN? Are y'all protecting your data? You know, maybe they're not after you. Maybe you're just someone who's watching videos on YouTube and you're a plumber, a carpenter, a tradesman, electrician. Maybe you work in an office and you got nothing to worry about. All right. Maybe you're someone who might uncover malfeasance at some point within a company or corporation. They will go to the companies you use, Microsoft, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, whatever, you name it, Verizon. They will say, we want you to give us their private communications and information, whatever you have. Now, if they went to you and requested these things, you'd say, I object. I won't do it. I'm going to have a lawyer file a claim. When they go to these big companies like Microsoft, they go, sure, whatever, we don't care. Now, Twitter and Google and some companies pride themselves, or at least they pretend to, coming out and saying, we have rejected these attempts to seize data from our company. But many of these companies have no problem handing it all over and saying, okay, not us, we don't care, it's theirs. Don't let the people who hate you have control of your communications. They're going to say, Project Veritas's motion seeks to require the SDNY to comply with the special master order by stopping their review of the surreptitiously obtained emails and disclose other hidden spying campaigns executed against the nonprofit's journalists. The SDNY has launched a retributive campaign that does violence to the First Amendment, writes Calley. While the special master litigation proceeded, the government apparently misled the court by omission, failing to inform it and failing to inform the aggrieved journalists that the government had already obtained the contents of privileged emails from Project Veritas's cloud computing provider. The documents reveal a peek into the SDNY's covert surveillance of American journalists commenced by Assistant U.S. Attorney Robert B. Sobelman. The surveillance culminated in a search warrant seeking every email sent to or from Project Veritas founder and CEO James O'Keefe for a 3-month period, along with every contact he had ever saved. By virtue of these orders, the SDNY gave unsupervised and unfettered access to O'Keefe's emails, including privileged communications with his attorneys and notes to and from O'Keefe's confidential sources, among other constitutionally protected communications. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'll tell you what I think. I think James O'Keefe has got a whistleblower inside the government. That's what I think. I think somebody working for the FBI or some other, or the DOJ, went to Project Veritas and said, here is malfeasance. Wouldn't be the first time, it's my understanding. Or I believe. So how much you want to bet? The DOJ was like, oh man, someone's going to expose my corruption. Someone who knows my corruption is going to leak it to Project Veritas. What do? Simple. You play these dirty games. You seek to get the communications from Project Veritas to expose whoever it is might be spilling the beans on you. This is the danger of corruption. Powerful individuals in law enforcement likely to be exposed will use their powers and smear and defame those who would expose them. I don't know what Project Veritas has on anybody, to be honest. Maybe they don't. I don't know. It certainly seems like they got somebody scared because this is desperation. They say the SDNY also managed to convince a rotating cadre of magistrates to give the SDNY unchecked access to 7 other journalists' emails and contacts. According to an order the DOJ sought to keep secret to justify obtaining access to journalists' emails, the Justice Department appears to have argued there is probable cause to believe the email accounts maintained at premises controlled by Microsoft Corporation USA contain evidence, fruits, and instrumentalities of crime. Each order, warrant, and subpoena were accompanied by a non-disclosure order, which barred Microsoft from disclosing the SDNY's surveillance for 1 year, claiming without evidence that disclosure could lead to destruction of evidence by Project Veritas. Multiple NDOs were set to expire in January 2022. Interesting. I wonder if this is how they got them. On December 8th, 2021, however, Judge Torres, over the opposition of the SDNY, granted Project Veritas' request to appoint a special master to supervise the SDNY's review of material seized from journalists to protect the news organization's journalistic privileges, among others. Just want you to think about this for a second. If they didn't find out about what was going on, how could they file a complaint against it? Right now, for all I know, they're spying on Timcast. What can I do? File a FOIA, demand to know whether or not there's an investigation so I can file a complaint? No idea. Only, when Veritas discovers what's happening, can they actually complain about it. They say, Judge Torres ordered the SDNY to provide the seized materials to the special master, Judge Barbara Jones, who, rather than the SDNY, would conduct an initial review of the extracted materials and rule on objections raised by Project Veritas on any grounds, including on grounds related to any First Amendment concerns, journalistic concerns, and attorney-client privileges. Although the SDNY began issuing nearly weekly reports to the special master, only a few days after Judge Torres' order, the SDNY has never submitted any report disclosing its surveillance of Project Veritas' emails to the special master, let alone provided the seized emails to the special master. The SDNY's briefing submitted to Judge Torres regarding the special master procedure also failed to disclose the SDNY's covert spying or the voluminous records seized by the SDNY. When a round of the SDNY's NDOs requiring the spying to be kept secret began expiring in January 2022, the SDNY, having had their arguments rejected 2 out of 2 times by Judge Torres, apparently opted again to keep the surveillance of journalists secret from Judge Torres and instead obtained renewals of those orders from magistrates who were apparently unaware of Judge Torres' order. This is corruption, man. Simply put, this is overt and outright Biden DOJ corruption, seeking to cause harm to Project Veritas. Journalists who routinely make the Democrats and the establishment look bad. Man, I tell you, it's a dangerous business. If you're a journalist and you're not worried about what the government has in store for you, you're not really a journalist. Real journalists are worried about, look, you're on the ground, you've got government agents, you've got cops, and you don't know how they're going to respond to you. Maybe you'll get arrested. If you're a journalist working in the investigative beat or undercover, you're going to upset very powerful people with connections to government. And you have to be worried about these things. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you, right? It's entirely possible that, all of us working in these spaces have illicit and illegal activities going on behind the scenes. And I wouldn't be surprised. If someone came to me and said the DOJ was doing something similar to all of us here at Timcast, I'd be like, what else is new? They say these revelations come on the heels of a trio of FBI raids of Project Veritas journalists, including O'Keefe, during which the SDNY indiscriminately seized 47 devices, including a device belonging to a journalist's roommate. Crazy. The SDNY's spying campaign represents the latest example of governmental misconduct in a seemingly politically motivated investigation by President Biden's Department of Justice into Project Veritas' news-gathering activities surrounding allegations against then-candidate Joe Biden made by his daughter, Ashley Biden, in her diary. Though Project Veritas ultimately did not publish the allegations in the diary, it attempted to corroborate the allegations by requesting comment from Mr. Biden and his daughter, whose attorney, Roberta Kaplan, reacted by saying, "We should send the request for comment to the SDNY. The SDNY appears to have been doing Miss Biden's bidding ever since, with little to no oversight beyond what appears to be judicial rubber stamps from magistrates not fully briefed on the matter by the SDNY." Why the Biden administration's Department of Justice sought voluminous amounts of journalists' emails, including confidential sources and attorney-client privilege data from Microsoft, despite vowing a year ago to protect press freedoms, is one of many questions the Biden administration will likely have to answer in the coming days. They said Trump was the monster. They said Trump was attacking press freedoms. They said Trump was the fascist. Joe Biden's Department of Justice, seemingly with him involved, are engaging in overt corruption against American journalists.